tell him that you help him. And I'm telling the Lord, I don't have time. I don't have the bandwidth to help anybody else, especially not for free. Go tell him that you are going to help him, and you're going to do it for free. I was like, you know what? This man is going to think that I'm crazy, that I'm just walking up to him, and, like, he's going to think that I'm crazy. He's like, go tell him. I'm like, okay, all right, fine. So I walked over to him after he finished his, conversation when he spoke at the book signing. And I was like, hi, how you doing, Jeremy? Hi, Connie S, nice to meet you. He was like, hey, go ahead. I was like, I love your story. I know this is going to sound super creepy and super stalker, because I feel really awkward saying it, but I told me to come over here and tell you that I need to help you and that you need help with something. I don't know if you do or don't, but told me to come over here and tell you that I will help you, and I'm going to volunteer my time. And he was like, what do you mean? Like, I've been standing up here in this booth this whole time, arguing with the Lord about this conversation. He goes, I really don't have time. I really don't even know what all you do, because before that, I didn't follow him on social media. I didn't know. I just knew he was one of David Fancy Pants' mentors.
Mm-hmm.
So having that conversation, it was just like, hey, strange man that I don't know, clearly a fancy, I'm supposed to help you, and I don't know how, and I don't have the time to do it, but I'm trying to be obedient. And he was like, well, one, thank you for being obedient. Two, well, what do you do? So I kind of ran down what I did, and when I tell you he busted out laughing, he was like, yo, me and my wife have been praying for somebody to help us get organized. We've been praying for somebody to help us, and we just don't have the bandwidth to be able to hire anybody to do this, to do that. I travel so much. She's not feeling very well. Like, it's just so much going on. We've been praying. Me and my wife have been praying for help. Like, give me your number right now. Like, can we talk tomorrow morning? Are you busy now? Like, he's like, wait, what? He's like, we've been praying about this. We've been praying for help. And from then, the next morning, at like 6:48ers, he was sending me and say, good morning, how you doing? You have time for a Skype call? I'm like, if you don't get off my phone, in the morning, we're going to fight. And after I dropped my daughter off at school, we did our Skype session. Later on in that week, we had another session so I could meet the whole team. He's like, yo, this is Connie S. He's going to be helping with X, Y, and Z. And I do it for free because that's what the Lord told me to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine this man who I didn't know, who is a fancy pants, that's my favorite word for people that are very, very successful in whatever their work is.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know he was that fancy. I didn't know he was that fancy of a pants. But now,
yeah, he's definitely fancy pants.
Yeah, I didn't know. So now I'm associated with a brand that's global. They just got back from South Africa. He's talking to me about Johannesburg. He came back, stayed for 2 days when he had to go to Canada. He's back this week, and the next week he's going to be in Baltimore. And he's speaking about the Word of God all over the world. And I'm attached to a global motivational speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was obedient in volunteering my time. So, all that to say, the conversation that he and I had today, because he was talking about, volunteering and, making sure that we take opportunities, even if they're not paying very much, but at least getting our foot in the door. And he told me a story about CJ and Eric Thomas. And he was saying, they wanted to start getting into voiceovers. And, so random. They wanted to start getting into voiceovers, so they've been soliciting, like, hey, we want to do this, we want to do that. And nobody really hit them up. And then one day the NBA hit them up, like, hey, we're selecting, people, what is your price, how much are you asking, what is your fee, blah, blah, blah. And CJ was like, yo, we'll do it for free. You don't have to pay us for anything. Not only do you not have to pay us, but I'm going to send Eric Thomas down there to where you are. I'm going to pay for the hotel, for the airfare. You don't have to pay us for nothing at all. And they were like, you know what? Sold. Awesome. We'll send you contracts in 2 hours. And guess what? That free session that they did for the NBA opened up all these other doors. So volunteering, especially in an area that you want to break into, you better get in there however you can.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, how you doing? I'll intern. No problem. I'm 38 years old. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm in here right with the 17-year-old. Hi. because it's priceless. Some things you just need to experience. Sometimes you just need to contact. Sometimes you just need to get your foot in the door. And once they see how you work, then you get to move up the ranks.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep. That is an amazing story, and that's funny that I asked that question. And I saw the picture on Instagram with you and Jeremy earlier, and yeah, that's a funny story. And listen, so I have a similar crazy story. You know Nehemiah Davis, right, Connie?
What?
Yeah. So I ended up following Neo from Instagram because I knew he was connected with Dave, and I saw Dave post something about him or something, so I ended up following him. And I didn't know exactly what he did. I probably still don't know exactly what Neo does, but I know now. But I just was following him, and it was around Thanksgiving, and he put a post out that he was looking for volunteers for his big Thanksgiving event that he does, and it was in my hood, around the corner, like the playground that me and my kids always played at. So I'm like, oh, that's even close to home. I go support. So it was the day before Thanksgiving, and at that time, and I think that's probably a little bit after the time that you and I had a consultation together, and you just like completely blew my mind. And so I was just in that networking and building a network mentality because of you. Thank you very much. So I ended up going and volunteering there. I met him. It was all good. I wasn't thinking nothing of it. I didn't know what I wanted to do at that time. Still, I knew what we talked about. I wanted to do that. But, what he was doing really had nothing to do with what I wanted to do. So I was just there supporting. I saw where it was. It was close by. I had some free time that day. So I said, you know what? I'll go help out. And so I did. And so that very night, that was the day before Thanksgiving. That very night, about 11-something p.m., I get a phone call from one of my friends on my street that I used to live on, and she's telling me that my house was on fire, and it was my father's house who he left me, and so the house is mine, but I just was never there. My brother was living there at the time. He was going through some rough times, and I was letting him stay there. And so my friend calls me 11-something that night and says, listen, your house is on fire, and we think your brother in there. So I'm freaking out. I'm trying to call my brother. He's not answering. And so I call my mom. Me and my wife, we call my mother-in-law. She comes over with the kids. Me and my wife go. We meet up with my mom. And so, long story short, Thanksgiving morning, about 12-something a.m., my brother died in that house fire, and it was literally one of the craziest days of my life. But it was one of those moments where it was a sign and a message from God, just really speaking. He really was blatantly speaking to me that night, and it was not in music, not in any kind of dream. It was blatantly speaking to me. And it was about 3-something a.m. that morning. A lot of my family, my aunts, my uncles, my grandma, we all met up, and we were just together, just trying to be there for my mom and all that. And so God literally spoke to me that night and said, you're going to preach his sermon at his funeral. I'm like, what? I ain't never preached no sermon before. You can get out of my face. Like, for real. Like, my brother, I'm going to preach his sermon. I never preached before. Like, I know you've been calling me to ministry. I understand all that, Father, but, yeah, I can't do that. I can't stop crying. How am I going to preach his funeral? I can't stop crying. And I'm just going through it. And literally days after that, he told me, you remember, I gave you a vision years ago. I didn't write it, but the vision never left me. I never forgot about the vision. It always stuck with me. And so it was about 6 years ago, I guess around the same time that me and Danny was actually talking about doing a radio show. And he told me about the homie. He said homie. All I knew was homie. I didn't have it as an acronym. It wasn't a foundation. I just always knew homie was just of some importance to me. And so he said, all right, now it's time. It's time. And I'm like, what? Like, what is he talking about? And so around that time in 2010, my on the same exact street, my dad's street, my nephew, who was living with my dad at the time, you know, he was coming home. He was hanging out with his girlfriend, came home, parked the car, turned the car off, and somebody just ran up on the car and just shot him 8 times. And it was then that the vision really happened. I'm like, I don't know nothing about no homie. I don't know nothing about what it is that you're talking about. I just knew God was speaking to me, but, you know, I can be honest, at that point in time, my discernment level was on 0. So I didn't know what he was talking about. I just knew what he was saying to me. And so after my brother passed away, he kept saying it again. And then that's when it started to hit me. It was like, okay, I need to go back out here and help people that's going through these same things that my brother and my nephew are going through, that they went through, that they died from. And, you know, that goes back out to my community and strengthening and building my community and seeing all the crazy stuff that goes on in my community. And that's where it all ended up at. And it was like, yo, that's what Neo does. And so I started really following Neo and started watching what he does. And you know, we started building a relationship. And, you know, my kids go to his programs, every event. We all know the same people. We're all in the same circle now. And it all started from me going out to volunteer, to help out at that event just by wanting to help out. I didn't even know my goals at the time. So, you know, like Connie said, you know, volunteering your time and just going out and just being a blessing and helping someone out and supporting what they do. Work and go out and support and just help out as much as possible. And now network. Connie.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I shared that story with anyone besides my wife before. That's funny. It just came out. I don't know why. A lot of partnerships that you may end up having, you know, will come from networking. Now, Connie, you say you have Corey Moore over there with you. He's a pro networker, correct?
Yes, he actually just stepped out to go take a call because, you know, he works 24 hours a day. He actually has a conference coming up in the next month that he's excited about, and by the time he finishes and we finish, he'll be able to talk a little bit about that and answer some networking.
Okay, well, we have a few minutes left on the show, so you know, let's get back. Let's get back. So, as far as, you know, teaming up and building those relationships, you know what? Hold up. No, we have 15 minutes left in the show, actually. All right, so here's another aspect of teamwork.
Let me tell you what I want to say.
Okay, go ahead, Connie.
Now,
all right, hold on. Hold on, Connie.
Can you hear me?
All right, yeah, my connection was breaking up for a second. Go ahead. You can go now.
Okay, so for people that are entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs, especially when you're first starting out and continuing, bartering. Bartering is awesome. I get so many things done because I'm able to barter my services. Now, that means I'm not getting paid in cash for it, but I'm